Hello there. So, I'm here to talk to you about the upcoming Capricorn full moon, but also we're going to talk about the big development, which is Uranus going into Gemini and what that's going to mean for us all. So, Capricorn full moon, Cancer sun, they're sort of the parents of the zodiac. Cancer's the mother, Capricorn's the father energy in traditional astrology. But they don't have to be. It can be whoever sort of provides is the provider of the foundations, who teaches you to be structured, to have follow through. Both signs have leadership. It's just in different ways. And it's also about who nurtures, who teaches you your outward persona to the world. So a lot of the time that's Capricorn, your career or your social standing. And Cancer is more to do with the home front, and the inner world of the inner family. But these roles can all be intertwined and intermixed. So when we hit Capricorn full moon and Cancer planets, Jupiter's in Cancer, well, are we wondering about our home life versus our public life, our outer status and how we are seen and what we have accomplished versus, what you might quietly know is going on in your inner world. And sometimes that creates a lot of pressure for people, because they're very different things. One might be very material and one might be very emotional. You can have lots of people that are accomplished out on paper in the world that are not very happy or healthy emotionally, for sure, right? And the opposite is true too. But we're going to take a deeper dive first into Uranus. So Uranus shifting signs is really a big deal because it's a 7-year transit. Now, if you look back at how much change has gone on in the world from 2018 to 2025, crazy, right? Crazy acceleration of change. Why? Uranus, part of it, it's other planets too, but part of it can be Uranus in Taurus, which, as I said, all those 7 years was like a series of earthquakes and landslides because it's an earth sign, shaking the foundations of all the things that we took for granted were just stable, functioning parts of society that would never change, because Taurus hates change. Our banking system, our work ethic, our 9 to 5 ideas, our going into the office and coming home and commuting ideas, our you have to buy a home and then a car and then you must live this way in a certain house. All of these, that's also very Capricorn with Pluto and Capricorn. But all of these very traditional earthy signs represent sort of this old school life or world, or what we aspire to, the capitalist dream, and what we're basing our status and our accomplishment and our worth, Taurus, status, Capricorn, what we're basing that on. So if you're sitting here feeling like, well, depending what generation you are, old or young, well, I can't afford a house, so does that mean I didn't accomplish anything in life? Of course not. I don't have I don't know, a title at work. I don't have a dental plan. Does that mean you're a loser? No, no. These things are much bigger than us. These socioeconomic patterns that control our lives are much bigger than us. And yet it's put on the individual like, oh, well, you didn't work hard enough, or you didn't choose the right thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be struggling. I'm fine. You're right? The trickle down BS economics thing. And it's the shadowy side of Capricorn that sort of climbs to the top and blames or enslaves the people below as their minions or their servants. And so, colonialism is not dead. It's just taken on a different form. The big company that outsources everything and gets it made cheaply in a country that doesn't have human rights. Is that really that different than slavery? Even though there's money involved? Not really. So I digress. But just to say, we had Pluto rocking our world with Capricorn for 12 years. And that ended, right, in early 2025. And then we had Uranus rocking our world from 2018 to 2025. So we've taken an enormous hit to what we thought was a foundation, a structure, a stability, or the way the world works. Now, Uranus it's gone into Gemini, and it will retrograde back into Taurus in a few months for a little while, and we're going to see that final pass. That's where I would expect something to really start changing in a more final kind of way, meaning we let go of something that we used to think was the way it was. It's gone. We legislate to protect the old ways, or it's gone. There's something of a very final nature. Like if you think about, let's say it was a metaphor with a relationship, and you had somebody in your life that was sort of Taurian in your life for 7 years, and then it ends and you walk away and you start dating or being with somebody new who's more like a Gemini. And then all of a sudden the Taurus knocks at the door, wants to come back, wants to get back together. That's sort of the feeling when planets leave in the direction they're going, and then they retrograde for a little while. It's sort of like your ex going, ding dong. Oh, I missed you so much. Can we get back together? And so maybe you try, but we know a lot of the time that doesn't work, and it's a matter of time before you leave again, break up again. So it's sort of going to be like that, one final hurrah. And we know when it comes to the analogy of an ex coming back, that a lot of the time that means you're going to revisit all the things you loved and all the things that you didn't, and all the boundaries and all the things that you were sort of on the fence about now become crystal clear, and you can make a much firmer decision. And some people might take their ex back. Maybe it did work out, but other people it's done. And that's sort of the energy of a retrograde planet coming back again. So it's going to revisit Taurus again in a few months, and then it's going to go firmly into Gemini in 2025. Let me just check the date. The dates of this. Uranus retrograde. So it's going to retrograde on the 6th of September, and it re-enters Taurus from November 7th, 2025, and it goes until February 3rd, 2026. So we have, over the Christmas holidays. Whoa, okay, that will probably make us very sentimental this Christmas. This coming Christmas. Could be very nostalgic. So what does Uranus and Gemini mean? It's going to be mind-blowing, I really believe. So first thing to understand is, what is Uranus like? Well, like I said, in Earth, it's like little landslides and volcanoes, little eruptions. In air, it's like tornadoes and lightning and storms, strong winds. That's the metaphors. Air means the mind, the thoughts, the ideas, communications, extremely detached but fast moving things fly in the air, right? So we're going to see a lot of speeding up of technology and AI and how much it impacts our lives. We're going to see a lot of brainstorming and creativity and a lot of new ideas, because Gemini is always full of ideas. And it's extremely adaptable, and it loves to reinvent itself and play and be curious. But what that means, if Uranus is there could be some extremely fun, innovative, creative work that comes out of this, music or writing, apps, new services, new ways that we date, new ways that we connect online, socially, new ways we form groups, because Gemini is extremely social when it wants to be. The other side of Gemini is the slam the door, go away, introvert, leave me alone, nonverbal, because Gemini is the twins. Duality is very strong. So this is just going to be, can you see where I'm going with this? You have like a lightning bolt and twisters and storms and big wind with somebody that wants to like start 5 things at once quickly. And some of them are cool and some of them are weird. You might get really weird blast from the past people coming into your life, like really, or you might see some people you know start to do really cool stuff or really weird stuff, you know? So people will feel the speediness, they will feel the restlessness, they will feel the anxiety of how what happens when everything speeds. We've already been having a hard enough time when it's rocking the earth, and that's huge, but that's also slower. This is just like, it's going to be left like, what the hell was that? So we have to really keep on top of certain things. And the main thing to me is we have to really take good care of staying grounded and calm, staying centered as much as you can. Now, you want to use this energy to expand your life with the excitement. You know, not to like, don't hide yourself in a room and try to forego that the world is changing fast without you. No, but you have to pace yourself. It's like if you walk into a store that's full of, you know, the most beautiful cakes you've ever eaten, you don't eat one of every slice. You could, but you won't feel very good. So it's sort of like, how would you restrain yourself? How would you control, how would you manage that energy if you were in, it doesn't have to be cake, any kind of thing that you love. If you walked in and it was full of the most beautiful examples of the things that you loved and you were just like flooded and overwhelmed, and some were really, you know, cool and some of them were really awkward and some of them were like pushing it on you and trying to force feed you this cake, or like, here, taste this one. No, taste that one. And you're like, oh my God, I'm overloaded. I'm flooded. I can't decide. There's too much info. You might feel with Uranus and Gemini like, oh my Lord, my disc is full. Like there's only so much, Lord, here that I can learn. There's only so fast I can adapt. There's only so much information I can handle here. You know, you definitely might feel like that. Now, to me, the exciting thing is you're going to have a lot of people who love that, who are very airy. Pluto's in Aquarius now as well. We've got air and we've got the 2 big changers in air. Things are going to move and innovate quickly. Now, some of that could be scary, but some of that could be amazing. Depends how it's applied. I'm not a doom and gloomer about AI completely. I know that there's a dark side that's potential. The potential, obviously, socially, we have to be careful when it comes to AI replicating humans, cloning, us online, or you're going to have to be really discerning to know, are you speaking to a real person? But in terms of like what people are going to be able to accomplish with AI, with AI and tech is, I think, going to be outstanding in the next 7 years. Now, the other thing that I brought up in a recent Instagram reel, very briefly, but I'll bring it up here and then we're going to launch into the chart, is that a friend of mine who's an astrologer, Nick Dagan Best, you can look him up on YouTube as well, Nick Dagan Best. He has focused basically on history when it comes to astrology. And according to him, he said that whenever Uranus has been in Gemini, the US has been at war. Sorry, I'm hesitating because I hate saying these things in a way. So if you turn back the clock, Uranus was in Gemini during World War II and also during the Civil War, the American Civil War. So this is a real concern during the next 7 years. $15 years ago, it stuck with me. And so, and we see traces of this already, don't we? So, but let's hope that it doesn't play out like a World War II or World War III scenario. So let's go to the chart now. Just going to share my screen. My computer's a little slow today. I'm not sure why. And the chart is not showing up as an option. Okay, I think I pressed. Let's try this again. So while I'm waiting for this slow computer of mine, I will tell you that the full moon is happening on at 4:37 p.m. July 10th. If you're already feeling some intensity, was a reason why things will build and accentuate under the full moon, and it can show you something when it's intensified, right? Just like if you have something minor and then all of a sudden it starts to throb, it's not fun, but it's showing you where there's a problem, or showing you what needs attention. So sort of like that in a full moon, where something in your life might start to literally act up or throb, and you need a solution to it. Right. I don't know why this screen is just so slow. I can't even pause it if I wanted to get this to work. Okay. I'd like to know why my computer is so slow. Maybe that's my full moon issue is I have to fix my computer or work from my laptop or something else. It's weird, but it can freeze. So I can't do anything on the screen, but it's still recording me. It's so weird. Well, you know what? I'll call up the chart on my phone instead, and I will share it once the screen becomes more available. Alrighty. And I don't see it on my screen. Okay. All right. Good old astro.com. Okay. So this chart, we have an interesting aspect called a mystic rectangle. So we have Mars conjunct the south node in Virgo, which is quite powerful, actually. What does south node in Virgo mean? Well, it means you've had many lives of being of service. You might have been a nun or a monk. You might have been a doctor, a surgeon, a nurse. You might have been somebody that just served your community, or it could be as mundane as, you were a attendant and lived on the church grounds and never married, but you served. So it's a past life because it's south node of service. In this life, could you be dealing with feelings of service versus servitude? Yeah, you might. Mars Virgo is going to make everybody very sort of anal and perfectionist. Well, now my screen is. Hello. So you'll notice a new background because I had to change to my laptop. So I don't know, maybe this is a metaphor for this full moon. Stops and starts, pauses. Like I said, Uranus brings like wiggy things to communications.
including sudden computer crashes. So hopefully it won't bring one to you. So let's take a look at this chart now. All right. So we have, you can see it better. We have what we call a mystic rectangle. See here? So 2 trines and 2 sextiles. So it gives you a funny feeling, doesn't it, compared to looking at other charts that we've looked at. When we see a rectangular compared to the squares are red, and you can see, okay, this is fixed but conflictual. This is like, okay, no, it's structured, but it's harmonious. So that's an interesting metaphor, Capricorn being structure and Cancer being fluid. So before the video cut out, I was talking about Mars in Virgo, conjunct the South Node. So Mars in Virgo is very perfectionistic. It's very orderly. It likes to, put a name on things, categorize things, analyze things. And it can be very meticulous. It's great if you need to do a lot of detailed work like paperwork or legal work, math, adding, budgeting, even details with, help, taking care of your health, reading the labels properly, reading the recipes properly. Virgo keeps it all together in all the details and all the methodology. And so as I was going on at first, it's one of the pillars of the mystic rectangle, and it's to conjunct the South Node, which means there's sort of this past life pull to wanting everything to be in order and wanting to put a name and a category on everything, wanting everything to be perfect, basically. And it's also a pullback to serving versus servitude attitude. So if you're in servitude and you're always helpful, but you're not enjoying yourself, then you are in a position of being, sometimes bitter or the martyr. So we have to guard against that, although it is harmonious with the moon in Capricorn. So you might not really feel used and abused or unseen or invisible, like you're helping, but nobody notices you, even though it's right on the midheaven. So people should be noticing your service. If any of you are Virgo rising, Virgo sun or moon, and it's anywhere near 13 to 20 degrees, so the middle of the sign, you might have moments of recognition for those qualities. And then the moon in Capricorn is very like productive and get her done. It's not a nurturing emotional moon. It's usually somebody pretty serious deep down. Somebody, if somebody was born on this day with the moon in Capricorn, they would be sort of an old soul before their time, serious as a child. Parents might have been busy or away or working all the time. And it might mean that you're in just sort of a nose to the grindstone, get her done kind of mood right now during this full moon. Now it does oppose the sun as usual in Cancer. And then that moon in Cancer is also harmonious to the Virgo. So again, this is an energy that likes to be helpful, that likes to be of service to people, that is nurturing and caretaking and looking out for people. So that's sort of interesting, right? And when they're harmonious, all of that work aspect, even though sun is opposite moon, it's harmonious with the Virgo. So again, a very practical feeling moon. Often Cancer moons could be really, Cancer sun, and Jupiter could be very emotional, sentimental, deep diving into their emotions or their past or remembering their childhoods or bonding deeply with others, you know, psychic moments too with Cancer. However, Mercury's up here in Leo by itself, not really touching anything. So it's not really suggesting a psychic mood. Moon in Capricorn isn't going to be terribly tuned in. It's and Mercury in Leo is also just busy doing other things. So I'm not getting a real psychic mood. I'm getting more of a let's rest, let's put our feet up, let's get tasks done. If there's someone around who needs us, let's offer help. Let's be there for them in practical ways or in listening ways. Now, if you take a look over here at that last pillar of the rectangle, now we have the North Node, which is Pisces. So, and Saturn is there at 1 degree Aries. It's like 11 degrees away. It's a little far. So the North Node in Pisces, harmonious with all of this as well. It's almost like you feel you have a mission to take care of or get things done or serve. And Mercury and Leo could be very like in charge boss. Let's get out there. Let's be bold. Let's forge ahead. So it's an interesting vibe. Now, Saturn and Neptune, I've talked about before, they're in Aries now. They almost cancel each other out in a weird way. Saturn in Aries is going to be here to learn how to initiate things, have a strong sense of who you are. So from that strong self, you know who you are in relation to others and the world. And you can put forth your own goals and your own passions, projects with a bit of gusto, with a bit of structure, although it's Aries. But there will be a bit more staying power if it's Saturn and Aries, like sustained, sort of a sustained fire for what you want to do. However, Neptune comes along and goes, you know, and just like the flames can get out of control, the idealism can be very high. So isn't that an interesting combination with what we've said? If you have people that are like being of service, happy to help, thinking about tasks and projects to conquer or to, and then you've got the passion of Aries, but it could be clouded. But it's not really opposing anything. It's opposing Jupiter, but other than that, it's sextile Pluto down here. It's working well with Venus and Uranus and Gemini. So it can get definitely enlist people to get a lot of things rolling. Like Venus and Uranus in the seventh house. Wow. Are you out there dating? Are you meeting new people? Are you getting spontaneous invites or offers? Are you out there mingling? Are you meeting some interesting or strange or eccentric people or some very bold, innovative people? Because that's what that's going to bring. Now, it's not Venus and Uranus and Gemini in the seventh is not a time for commitments. It is not a time to say, oh, how do you really feel about me? That's more the Cancer and Jupiter and Cancer and Capricorn moon. It's like wants to know where things stand and what's secure, but oh no, not Venus and Uranus and Gemini. So if you're meeting new people versus, established people in your life, it's going to be pretty flirty and transient and pretty flaky and all over the place, even if it's a lot of fun. Not the time. If it's talking about relationships that are, established, they might have a bit of spice. They might have a revive if you've got that stability going on already. The moon in Capricorn and Pluto there in Aquarius down here are both squaring off with Chiron. So that's a little heavier energy down there. So, Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting this feeling, wondering whether some of you might be feeling, again, overlooked, invisible with what you give, a little hard done by kind of feelings. Again, like who's recognizing me? Who sees me for who I am, you know? So Capricorn moon gives me a feeling of being a bit depressed. Um, and then you've got this zingy Venus and Uranus, like, woo, let's go windsurfing, you know? So it's a funny kind of mixed chart because we've only got a few squares and they're all leaning over here. Mars is squaring Venus and Uranus. That's about it. That Virgo side again. Virgo's just too damn practical and busy monitoring everything and making sure of everything and putting a label on everything. For Venus and Uranus, it's just going to be like trying to put your hand over a tap and it just keeps pouring through. Virgo wants to try to control that energy. Keep it at bay, but it's pretty strong and it's pretty electric. It's going to be hard for Virgo to do that. But there's a stronghold with the mystic rectangles, so they might be able to sort of carve a little box and keep the crazy off to the side, you know? Could be crazy, real crazy. It could be crazy fun. It's hard to say. Yeah. Now, Jupiter is going to be in Cancer for the next year, which is nice. For those of you, excuse me, who are having their birthdays today, happy birthday around this full moon. You've got Jupiter in your sign all year, and Jupiter is going to give you a feeling of confidence, expansion, luck. Jupiter in Cancer is a lovely aspect. People will be more open-hearted and more caring of others and more sensitive, more empathic, more ready to, you know, cook a friend a meal if they're in need and listen to how they feel and all that stuff. So it's a nice aspect here. So I'm getting a funny vibe about this full moon, I gotta say. It's very subdued. Even the feelings, like I mentioned, of, oh, well, getting the projects done, or like wondering who, you know, am I serving the right people, or are people appreciating my efforts? But I'm giving it anyway. They're giving it anyway. With North Node in Pisces, altruistic Pisces, and Sun in Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, it's like, yeah, maybe some people might be recognized for their service at a time like this, but a lot of people might be feeling like they're quite invisible and they're just giving it anyway, which is quite noble. The only thing that stands out and shines in this chart is the Mercury at the top in Leo, which wants to just have everybody listen and tell stories or jokes and have fun because it's in the ninth house. It wants to travel or get out of town or do something, talk about something higher minded or fun. I mean, as usual, our world is just so polarized, and this chart feels even more so to me because there's a strong stability in it, but there's a very strong, like, wild card factor too. And as I'm looking at the chart, I'm even feeling a bit of like pressure in the chest. So if there's things that you need to get off your chest, this is probably a good time to do so. But in confidence, you know, in confidence. All right, let's take a look at the tarot quickly for this moon. I don't know why it is. Oh, there's. Okay. All right, let's take a look quickly at the tarot for this moon. All right. So we've got the Four of Swords, which is a Libra card. Jupiter in Libra. That goes well with the air trine. with the Pluto and Aquarius, Venus, Uranus, and Gemini. It's a highly communicative, chatting, talking, reaching out, texting, messaging, networking, picking up the phone, kind of visiting your neighbors kind of card. Now, the card says truce. So if there are people you need to make peace with, make amends with, like I said, Venus, Uranus ain't the greatest time to do that. But if you have a long-term relationship that's been stagnant or there's been no communication, might be a good way that it just lights the fire. If you're the kind that you're talking all the time and you're not hearing each other or you're competing with each other, then that aspect might make it harder to have the heart to heart, unless you're both earthy, watery signs that can talk about it. But otherwise, it seems to me more a time to expand your networks and just go out and meet and have fun and keep this light. Ten of Swords, yeah, another air sign card. So Sun in Libra, Moon in Gemini, which you know, people would say, oh, well, air signs should be compatible, but no, that would be hell. And you can see it on the card. Why? Moon in Gemini wants to do what Gemini does, 15 things at once. When they're at one place, they act one way, and when they're at another, they act another way. Not because they're trying to be fake, but they're blending in with who they're with. And they're chameleons, and they want to start, like, you know, 5 different businesses at the same time that they've said yes to organizing something, and then they've said yes to somebody staying over at their house, and nonstop, just nonstop. Why is that hell for Sun in Libra? Libra wants things to be fair and balanced and beautiful and in order, even though they are still social. They want harmony, and Gemini keeps going, oh, I just brought this new couch in, and the Libra's like, I just finished the living room. What are you talking about? Oh, well, I thought I'd paint that wall pink now because I changed my mind. And then they do, and then they don't finish it. And then they decide later down the road that maybe it should be red. And Libra is just like, oh my God, could you just make up your mind and stick with it? I need things to be peaceful and beautiful. So that's why Ten of Swords is hellish, and it's mental hell. So once again, it's reflecting being torn mentally somehow. I'm having a hard time finding the analogy or the words for this. There's this very strong, sort of calm, I mean, even a bit down, subdued feeling. There is help. There are people around. There are people listening. There are people that'll offer. There are people that can help you, people you can talk to. It's not like an isolated thing, but there's a bit of a down. And then there's this woo, 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 woo kind of thing going on with Venus, Uranus, and Neptune and Aries. Like, so it's a little bit split, you know? Kitty agrees. Okay, this is good. Now we come into the Three of Cups, which is abundance. So coming into the abundance card is Mercury in Cancer. Now, abundance, well, things are going to start flowing. You have to get over whatever this stick in the mud mood is, or whatever this mental torn thing you're going through. And often I find that happens through getting clarity on your true values, being fully honest with yourself on something or someone, making a decision, making decisions. And through that, the abundance, a lot of the things are going to start to flow your way again. So this is very positive. So whatever you're struggling through right now, just keep going. Keep working through it and talk to people. Get some help. Talk to a friend, talk to your mom, talk to your brother, whoever. Talk to a counselor, coach. Come for a reading if you want. I'm always here to help. I'm still doing lots of readings. And so you will work yourself through this tumultuousness, if you will. All right, let's take a look for each sign. What is your full moon going to bring? Because it's too weird to pull it into one question. What's your full moon going to be like? I'm going to make these quite quick but accurate. All right, there we go. Aries, what's your full moon like? Five of Swords. You need to stop arguing about stuff. There's conflicts around. You might have started it. They might have started it. Doesn't matter. Let go. There's too many people trying to be right, or too many cooks in the kitchen with this card. And it's going to be a lot of bad words and hurt feelings if you guys don't stop arguing. So for your part of it, just you've said your piece. People know where you stand. Let it go. Lay low for this full moon. All right, Taurus. Taurus, what's going to happen for your full moon? Ah, lovely. High Priestess, it's a spiritual high full moon for you. The best thing for you then would be to get in touch with old things you used to do for yourself, unless you're very routine and regular, that's great. But if you're not, go back to something that you used to do that used to bring you a lot of comfort or sense of connection to what's greater than you, the planet, the cosmos, your spirit guides, animals. Bring yourself back to this space where you trust your inner guidance. And if you need to be out in the middle of a cornfield to hear it, then go do that, you know? If you need to be gardening, you go do that. It's listening to your higher self right now is what you need to do. And I feel like it's very strong for you. It's going to be beautiful, actually, this full moon for you. Geminis, I've already told you all the planets going on for you. So how's your full moon? And you've got the Princess of Wands. I am looking for something here. Okay, I can't find it. Princess of Wands. Well, you're going to be on fire. You're going to be having a great time. You just let the Venus Uranus take you wherever it takes you right now. She's unleashing herself. She's passionate and nothing's going to stop her. And she's just going to be experimenting or running off or doing something spontaneous and unannounced. Go do it. You know, it's one of those F around and find out kind of moons for you. Should be fun. Just, you know, try not to be too reckless with it. Otherwise, it should be a lot of fun for you. Cancers. What is your full moon looking like? And you've got the Capricorn card, work. Mars in Capricorn, work, 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 and work, and work, and work. And being productive. So for you, even though everybody else might be out seeming to have fun, you're getting stuff done. Could be physical work, could be looking for work, could be that you're being asked to do overtime or more work. This is a good sign if for anyone who's looking, because this is like paid, usually means paid full-time work. Good paying gigs. Otherwise, if it's not like paid work, then you're going to be extremely busy either renovating something or finishing up a large project, you know? So good for you. Leos, what's your full moon like? And you got King of Wands. So yeah, you're going for something here. Well, you've got Mercury in your sign. You're ready to take charge of your life. You're going to totally take charge. I don't know if you're asking for a raise, if you're asking for a higher position, if you're taking a risk to just up level something. You're being bold. You're being bold and you're asking for more out of life, which I think is great. Virgos, what's your moon going to be? Full moon going to be like? Oh, the witch. Temperance or the witch. So you're mixing a bunch of things at once here. For you, it's all about timing and alchemy. And here I am sitting in a apothecary background. That's the perfect example. Whatever you want to do right now, Virgo, you have to pick the perfect things on the shelf. And you have to know, I only need a little bit of this and a lot of that. And we need to wait for the reaction before we add that. You know, so you're not in a cut and dry, black or white kind of time with whatever you're doing. You need to be very fluid and do a bit of things at once. And you have to just be confident that you're going to figure this out, but it's going to be timing. Timing is sometimes, you know, you've got it all ready. You're waiting for someone else's answer or someone else's part to be done, or you're ready to assemble something. You're waiting for the part to come in the mail. It's that kind of, you can't control it. Just wait, and the timing will come. You just focus on knowing what it is you're creating and trust that the pieces are going to come together in their own timing when it's right. So get a good feeling for you for the full moon too, then. All right, Libras, what is your full moon going to be about? Look at all these court cards. Okay, Libra, you're like Queen of Wands. You're also in a take charge mood. You're in a no nonsense mood. She's got this leopard by the head. She's pretty fed up with somebody. She's got to keep control over this cat. It's a strong animal to keep control of. So you're trying to well, it looks like she's succeeding though, you know, she's just taking the cat and like, you're looking this way. That's it. That's what we're doing. So you're maintaining control over somebody that you consider to be like a leopard who's a wild card. And maybe the person is, maybe they're not. Like maybe they need a bit of that from you. Maybe it's a bit too much. So just ask yourself, what's the worst thing that happens if you let go and trust this little leopard to just live its own way? Are they going to be destructive to you? Or are you just nervous to lose control? All right. Scorpios, what is your full moon message? Lovely. Ace of Swords. You're getting a lot of mental clarity right now, despite that all this air is in the, you know, air signs, even though you're, well, you know, Jupiter and Sun in Cancer are going to definitely help you out in your creative and romantic side. No, forgive me, it's the ninth house. No, that's in your philosophy of life, higher learning, travel. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of clarity and insight this full moon. Just a matter of how you're going to implement it, but it's great. Sag, what's your full moon about? Money, money, money. Chunks of money, inheritance, benefits, bonuses. I don't predict lotteries. It's not like, oh, every Sagittarius will win a lottery. Come on. No. Some of you maybe scratch and win. But no, this is often, sometimes this can be that you've applied for disability insurance and you'll get it. Sometimes this is an inheritance. Sometimes this is, you know, an extra bonus on your paycheck for something you've done. But there's some money coming in for you. Sometimes it's also loans. If you're applying for a loan, a mortgage, line of credit, stuff like that. Now, Capricorns, how is your full moon going to go? You've got the luxury card. That's nice. Four of Cups. Well, you're just going to rest and put your feet up and drink your wine and whatever. You're just going to languish in a little bit of rest and pampering right now. You're lucky if you have people around to do that for you. And if you don't, then it's going to be you doing it for you. But that's what you need to do. Put your feet up, rest, have a drink, relax a little bit. Allow other people to do little kindnesses for you. Alrighty, Aquarius, what is your full moon about? Ooh, another ace. Ace of Wands, lovely. So you also have some clarity, but this is more will. Ace of Swords is like mental aha, you know. Yoo-hoo! I get it now. That's what I want. That's what I'm doing. Uh Wands is like strong will. This is more like I'm going to run the marathon. Nobody's stopping me. I'm gonna go for that promotion. Nothing's stopping me. So you have this surge of like unstoppable energy right now. Just don't overdo it and hurt yourself. Don't think that you can jump off of shit that you actually can't. You know, other than that, awesome. Awesome that you've got that much energy and will. Direct it wisely. All right, Pisces, what is your full moon about? Oh, nice. Victory card, Jupiter and Leo. Well, you're going to see some of the fruits of your labor. I would also say a very creative moon. So for you Pisces that are doing your arts and crafts, your music, whatever you're doing, do more of it. And if you haven't been doing any of it, then do it. Yeah, you need to just get your creative juices flowing. Other than that, if you've already been working on or doing stuff of that nature, you might just be going out there and having a lot more fun with it, or having little moments of, recognition or appreciation for it. The victory card, can't get better than that for a full moon. So the subduedness of it overall is interesting, compared to the cards. I guess everybody is collectively working out their own stuff, even if we're on different pages, right? Certain signs are like connecting to spirit. Others are like disembroiling themselves. Others are like focusing on their clarity of will. Others need to rest. Everyone needs something different at this time. There's sometimes when, things seem very aligned and lots of people say, yeah, I'm having that experience too, me too, me too, me too, me too. There's other times when it's like, we're all very aware that we're having an individual experience for now. All right, if you need a reading, I'm available. Just PM me. We can do your chart. We can see where Uranus is going to be passing through your chart in this 7-year transit of Gemini. We can see where is it going to rock and roll in your life. Or we can do the tarot or channeling. All right, so you just reach out to me. My email and everything's below. Have a lovely time with the full moon.